Okay, so there has been an update for the GCSE 2021 exams, specifically for English Literature AQA. So I teach AQA, that is the exam board I teach and have always taught. So, and most of my students do AQA, which is why this is relevant to you guys. There have been some changes made for next summer that will affect you. So this is a quick little video update to let you guys know. So, AQA have released information about the summer 2021 English literature exams and the changes that will take place this year due to the lockdown. So obviously because you guys missed so much school, they've decided to make changes for next summer. The exam times have also been changed and both exams will now be the same length of time. This might seem weird, but when you hear what changes have been made, it will make sense. To those of you who didn't know before, paper 1 was 1 hour and 45 minutes and paper 2 was 2 hours and 15. That's why it's important to know that they're both now 1 hour and 45. So there will be two options. They've said that there will be two options for the exams next summer, and it will be based on the text your school chooses. So what is mandatory? Shakespeare and poetry are mandatory and will be something you have to study. So you will still have to do a Shakespeare, Macbeth, Tempest, Romeo and Juliet, Othello, whatever your school does. And you will still have to do one of the poetry anthologies, so either Love and Relationship or Power and Conflict. That is still mandatory. You will still need to do those. You can't get out of it. And what text does your teacher need to choose? So the options your teacher, or your school technically, is the 19th century novel or the 20th century text. For most people, the 19th century novel is Jekyll and Hyde, with a few doing A Christmas Carol, and what was the other one? Frankenstein, I think, was the other one. And for others, the 20th century text was either Blood Brothers or An Inspector Calls, but there's obviously a few others there too. So the teachers would decide one or the other. So the exams will be like this. So option 1 will be the English Literature paper 1 is 1 hour and 45 minutes, and you do the Shakespeare and the 19th century novel. And English Literature paper 2, 1 hour and 45 minutes, is poetry and unseen poetry. Unseen poetry is still going to be there. You're not getting away from that. So that's the option 1. Option 2, again, would be paper 1 would be Shakespeare and the 20th century text. And again, paper 2 would stay the same with poetry and unseen poetry. So that is how they're looking at doing it. So it will depend on which text your school wants to do. Obviously, some of you guys have already started the 19th century novel, so your teachers may decide to just choose that because you've already done it. Others have done the 20th century text, and again, your school might decide that. Or it could just be that they decide to do one of the ones you haven't done, just because it's probably easier or shorter to learn. You will know within a week or two, I think. So keep your ears open and don't be afraid to ask your teachers. What does that mean for you? So it will mean that you will be doing one less text than previous years. Therefore, you will have less to remember for the exams. However, the less text means you will learn less context and techniques, and that can be used in your papers. So there are pros and there are cons. You won't have to learn as many texts, but you may not learn as much context or information because you didn't get to do that other text. There's a lot of links between a lot of the text, so they do interlink and it's pretty good. So that's what it means for you. So, told you, it was a short little video. Share, like and subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions, and follow me on my social medias because I tend to respond to that as well. And I will see you next time for the next video. Ciao!